I want to invite now to the stage 5 young people, all of whom are members of the Yalla organization led by Ms. Stone. Please, let me invite them one by one. Mona Rabia from Egypt, spent years in Canada and Europe. Excuse me, yeah.
Before it, there is here a gentleman who is sitting by the name of Uri Saviro. And I want to tell you, it is his brainchild, not the first one. Whatever he gave birth to was original, unusual, and successful, so I want really to notice it.
Uri Savir. And now I want to invite the kids of this idea, this magnificent idea, the young people who are here with us. Mona Rabia from Egypt spent years in Canada and Europe before returning to her homeland. She took part in the Tahrir Revolution. Lately, she was appointed to head of social impact of Bamiyan Media Corporation, trying to drive social change. She opened a peace center in Santa Caterina, what we call Har Moshe, and she joined the Yalla organization a year ago. Hanan Hart returned to Morocco a year ago from France. She majored in history and political science, wrote in numerous papers, did not hesitate to criticize the world of Islam, while at the same time she tries to diffuse stereotypes through which the West views Muslims. Samia Khatrouni was born and raised in France, but keeps close contact with Tunisia, her homeland. She worked as project manager for Yalla, now working on her doctorate on Palestine and the Islam, active on French media. Munir Abu Sabia is a student and social activist from Bethlehem. Lately began working on a theater peace project with an Israeli fellow, also a Yalla member. And our own Nimrod Ben Zeev, a student majoring in history of the Middle East and Africa, speaks of his experience in Yalla as something that changed his life. Guys, I want to give you the floor to ask either Mr. Perez or Ms. Stone a question. Mona, please.
Thank you. I want to thank you very much for this incredible opportunity first to be here, and happy birthday from the 100,000 Egyptians that are part of the Yalla peace movement, or more than 100,000. And the question I have for you, more and more in this increasingly connected and globalized world, I think we recognize the truth in the depths of our heart that we are one human family. But we continue to see wars and walls in the world. And I believe that these wars and walls in the world begin with wars and walls that are inside the hearts of men and women, as we are ultimately the creators of our world. So I'm wondering how we can reshape our systems and structures in the world so that we can promote peace in the heart rather than war, and so that we can promote forgiveness rather than resentment, and ultimately promote cooperation rather than competition.
You know, I think we are living in a new age. For 10,000 years, we used to live on land, which is being called agricultural age. For the last decades, we don't reside anymore on the land mainly, but on science. When we were living on land, we have had to defend the land and extend the land. So we build administrations, we build armies, we went to war. Once we went over to science, war doesn't have a role. Armies cannot conquer wisdom. Police cannot arrest innovation. So we can see the world changing. You can nothing achieve today by war but blood and agony and a waste of life. I believe it's true about all young people, mainly young people, whether they are Arabs or Jews, religious or secular, it doesn't matter. I want to tell you something about my impression about the Arab world. You know, people judge history by events. They should judge history by developments. The greatest development today in the Arab world, in positive terms, is the average age of the Arab people is 26, which means the majority of the Arabs are youngsters. And you have to make your decision. What are you going to do in your life? The second thing is there are more or less 350 to 400 million Arabs. People don't realize that 99 million of them are already online, mostly youngsters. At the universities in the Arab world, the majority are women, not men, which is a call for freedom. And I think the information that comes to them is online, immediate, and nobody can stop it. So I'm looking at this development with open eyes. And believe me, I wish that the youngster will have a better future than their parents. It's nice to be young, but nowadays it's very expensive. To be young, you have to be very competitive, very educated. Everything costs more: food, lodging, education. Life expectancy has doubled. And for that reason, the young children have to be responsible for parents that live 20 or 30 years more. They would love to, can they? So you're entitled to build your future, as our young Israelis are entitled to build their future, which will answer their needs and their hopes.
You just said that that it's tough to be young. I wanted to ask you how it feels to be old, but you wouldn't know. So,
look, you can to be young is not difficult. To live as a young man is difficult. To live young, you can be young as your dreams.
what is it that you miss most about your adolescence?
No, I don't miss anything. I miss only the tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, the past is dead, it's over. So the only thing we can miss are the things that didn't yet happen. And that's what I miss, and that's what I'm trying to find.
Before asking my question, Mr. President, I would really want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to be here and to shout out loud our voices for peace. I think that time has come for a positive perspective from the Middle East, not to exist because it's always existed, but just to be known. And all Yala is about this. We use new means to get the unknown known. And what was unknown is that there are hundreds of thousands, hundreds young people, not only from Israel or Palestine, but also from Syria, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and even Iran, who want peace. And to them, the question, will tomorrow be better, is not even a question. To them, tomorrow has to be better. There is no other option. There is no other way. I think
this optimism might become infecting.
I don't think this is a question. I think this is a great answer.
Yes. Yes.
I think that they are tired. They are tired of paying such a heavy bill for an unsolved conflict. Peace to them is the only way to live freely, to study freely, to travel freely, and even to love freely. So, to them, peace is not a far goal to be achieved. Peace is a means that we use in our daily lives. And Yala is about this. And now my question to you...
Before you ask your question, excuse me, Hanan, for being the less optimistic here, okay? For being the one who destroys the party. Most people you know in your country, most young people in Morocco, accept the existence of Israel as a Jewish state?
It's a tough question indeed. And I won't say that most of them accept it, but it's not for the right arguments. And that's what makes me optimistic. It's due to ignorance. It's due to the lack of travel possibilities between the young people of our region. And I strongly believe that if we fight this through education, through economic opportunities, through giving them the chance to travel and to meet each other, they are going to be changed. Because I've been changed by coming to Israel. I cannot deny that. So that's what makes me optimistic.
Go ahead and ask your question.
My question is very simple, Mr. President. When you were 20 or 30 years old, if you were a Yala member and you got the amazing chance to meet such a political leader as, for instance, Shimon Peres, what question would you ask him?
I wouldn't say I look for a question. I look for a destiny. And you did it. You don't need my presence for it.
Great.
I want
You can
to
simply
say-
tell him that he looks great. That's
I want
enough.
to say just one remark.
Yeah.
The relations between the Arabs and the Jews have had happy days and many sad days. By and large, the past was sad, particularly in the last century. We cannot change it. We cannot change the past. And I can understand people who are angry about it. But I would recommend to them not to be angry, because we cannot change the past. We don't have to invest in arguments, what happened, who is to be blamed. Yet, I do believe that the Arab tomorrow and the Israeli tomorrow will meet in a new tomorrow that we can decide its character and make it a happy tomorrow.
You know what's amazing? I'm now recalling that more than 25 years ago, Mr. Peres had a secret clandestine trip as Prime Minister to Morocco, to Ifran. And I remember that I was sent as a young political correspondent to the airport, 5 a.m. My mother was the only one listening to the radio. And I was sent to cover the press conference when you landed. And I asked you the same question 3 times. I asked you, Mr. Prime Minister, can you tell us that we are any closer to breaking the stalemate in the peace process than we were before you took that trip? And I asked it again and again, and eventually you told me, young lady, you are looking for a sensational headline, and I'm not going to give you one. And so the only thing that changed...
Now you can see that Ilana and myself remain true to ourselves, which is a great thing.
Right. And the only difference is that I'm not that young lady anymore, but he's still young. Yes.
Thank you. So
Samia.
my question will go to Ms. Stone, but first of all, I would like to say to Mr. President Peres, Yom Holedet Sameach, Sana Helwa. Joyeux anniversaire et je vous souhaite une longue vie et que vous puissiez enfin voir cette paix. I know you're dedicated to peace. So, Ms. Stone, my question will go for you. I know you're completely dedicated to women's rights, and as a young Muslim Tunisian woman, I've been completely also really involved in the Tunisian revolution, and young women were part of this uprising, what the so-called Arab Spring. Today we are still struggling, and I would like to ask you whether you have messages, advice to those young women to to have all their right and to still continue their struggle?
I think that, thank you for your question. I think that to have full rights as a woman is also to understand and respect the full rights of a man. I think that some of the things and some of the benefits and yet some of the mistakes that our generation made trying to move forward with feminism was to try to be like a man, or to try to that we had to push forward and to try to step into the man's world. But we're further down that road now, and you have women of our generation to stand by you and to be your mentors. And the world works the best when men and women work together, when they don't work competitively with each other, because we all have our natural assets to bring into the job place.
Some of us have. Some
You?
of us have. Listen, I got to ask you this actor question that you don't like. When you announced yesterday on the evening news on Channel 2 of Israeli television, I'm 55 and I'm hot and sexy, you said, really, I don't care for politically correct. I'm not speaking as a feminist. I'm 55, I'm hot and sexy. That's what you said, right?
I don't think
But
that
she is.
means that you don't believe in women's rights if you're
No,
hot
of course
and sexy.
not. But you do stand up to political correctness. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
Yes, but I don't think
Because-
it's incorrect to be hot and sexy.
Okay. Provided that you have the assets. Does he know what you said about him?
Do you know what I said about you?
Do you know what she said about you?
Here's what I said. In context, the woman asked me if I felt regretful of not playing parts of being young and sexy anymore. And I said that I don't regret or resent being in the room with women who are 20 and 30, because I think they're beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous. And I was 20 and 30. But I also am very excited for you to be 50 and 55 like I am, because it's a wonderful period. And I also feel that I'm equally hot and sexy. Because with this time comes other things, comes other benefits in your life, comes other things that come along. And our goal in life should be to age, should be to come with your development in life, each phase, each thing that you become. And there should be a self-respect with each phase, each thing that you are. So in answer to this question of feminism, it's about self-respecting yourself and the thing that you are, the thing that you really, truly are. And what I said about President Perez is my goal is to be hot, a hot 90-year-old, like President Perez. Because standing in your vibrancy, being present with the thing you are now, not hanging on to something that you were in the past, because I don't understand when women who are 55 say they're 45, because then you just look like an old 45-year-old. But also, you hang on to the ideas and the ideologies of something that you were before, not something that you are presently now. And the thing that makes President Perez such an exciting leader is that he is present in the now, that he doesn't need to hang on to an idea or a way that he was 30 years ago, that he's developing with technology and science and the things, and also the world cultural shifts that are now. And that's what makes you hot when you're 90. It's being present with the now.
Couldn't said it better. Guys, we're gonna have to make it quick now because we're running out of time. Munir, please. Our neighbor from Bethlehem.
I will try to make it very quick. My heart is beating very fast. But it's a great honor and a great opportunity to be here with you, Mr. President, and
Munir, bring the
Mr.
mic
Shimon
closer.
Peres, and with you, Mrs. Stone. Mr. President, is it difficult to shake our Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas' hand for peace, as I did with you now. I shake your hand, and it's very easy. It's not difficult. Because people from both sides are very tired. We have been fighting for 66 years now, just killing each other, fighting each other. Are we gonna witness in the near future 66 years of real peace? Just to rest in peace. I mean, let's give it a break. I mean, because I'm tired, because we are tired, both sides. We are tired of fighting and killing each other. Do you think that...
Yeah.
I hope you and our president, you can just shake your hand and just make real peace. I hope so one day that will happen.
My answer is, you should ask the question yourself, not me. It is the young generation today that has to make peace.
I do believe in peace. If I wouldn't believe in peace, I wouldn't be here now. I really do believe in peace very strong.
To believe is not enough. You have to act for it.
We are fighting. We will fight.
And mobilize all of you. I think our generation did some things which were great, and some things that are missing we would like to do and we didn't do. It's now your generation to take over. Don't wait for us.
Nimrod.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and happy birthday. And thank you very much, Ms. Stone, for being with us and for being part of Yala. Thank you, Ilana, for asking the questions so eloquently. After I finish, we have a small gift for both of you that I'd like to give you. But before, I want to ask a question to Ms. Stone. I know you've been heavily involved in civil society in America for a long time now. And one of the questions that we ask ourselves as people who are members of the civil society in the Middle East is, what kind of interface can there be between American civil society and Middle Eastern civil society, between young people struggling for change there and young people struggling for change here?
That's a good question, particularly now. We know that we have 7 billion people on the planet and 6 billion cell phones. So there are people in the world who don't have water, who have no food, and have a cell phone. We're in a new revolution of communication. Interaction, interfacing, interrelationships is the way to change. It is the road to change. So when you are online, when you are interfacing, when you are discussing peace online, when you are putting forward a positive message, when you are opening yourself in each of your country's representation, when you are demonstrating that your country is open and you're taking your FaceTime, when you're taking your Skype around, when you're showing what your country looks like, really looks like. You know, when I grew up, I had no idea what Russia looked like. Okay, that's the enemy. Germany looks like, that had been an enemy. What this country looked like, what that country looked like. Then I grew up and I went to all these different places. They didn't look anything like what I was told they looked like. This country doesn't look anything like what we see that it looks like on the news, even now. When you get on your electronic device and you show people, this is what my place, this is what my home looks like. This is what my mom looks like. This is what my food looks like. You're demonstrating to the world a safe and accessible thing, a tangible thing. When you interface in this way, you break down delusional thinking. The more you break down this delusional thinking, the more you create a sense of trust. Trust leads to a relaxed ability for people to have peace. That's it. It's as simple as that. If politicians went into each other's office with, hey, my mom made this bread, she'd like to give it to you, instead of sitting around in 2 chairs in front of a beige wall talking about the same old crap day after day, If they just went for a walk down the street and picked up a water bottle and threw it in the trash so someone could see, oh, there's an example of how to behave, people would feel more relaxed, more trust. But we don't see people doing people things. If you guys go out in your country and show people, here's people things in my country, you're going to break down delusional thinking and show something that leads to trust.
Thank you very much. We are wrapping up. I'll give you the chance to give your presence, Nimrod. We are wrapping up this part of the panel, but I need to ask you both a couple of very personal, very simple questions. I'll appreciate simple answers. We're talking about dreams, and we're talking about aspirations. And I'm asking you, Sharon, first, is there something, a role, a movie, an act that you still dream of doing?
You know, as I get older, I really enjoy doing comedies now. I have to say, I like going to work happy and coming home happy. So after a lifetime of doing drama, I'm really, really enjoying doing comedy now. So I'd have to say that. I'm liking comedy.
So go ahead and make us laugh. Shimon, there are 3 questions that I need to ask you. They are very brief. I'll appreciate brief answers. I understand from Israel here that you have to go somewhere else. By the first question, you'll know the second one. What is the biggest achievement of your life?
The one that will happen tomorrow.
What is the biggest failure of your life?
The biggest?
הכישלון הכי גדול.
Leave it to the opposition.
Some of the politicians stay there. You still
I want to say one thing about Sharon, with your permission. You know, what I learned in my life is that every woman is a civilization in her own right. And it's always fascinating to know a lady, not just by her looks, which are outstanding clearly, but by her heart and personality. What took me with Sharon is her sincere and deep wisdom. And for me, I cherish it very much.
I can tell you from the distance that you cannot see that Sharon is deeply moved, and rightly so. And now the last question, Mr. Perez. Is there a secret that we still don't know about you? Is there something that we still simply not know?
You ask me? Mm-hmm. I hope so.
We'll keep it. We'll keep that secret for the 100th birthday.
If people would be transparent, they would be boring. Can you make a living without surprises?
We'll keep one for the next one.
Without secrets? Life would be a boredom. And as a person that was very much impressed by the French civilization, I learned that for a Frenchman, to be bored is worse than to die.
That's right.
If you die, you die. But if you live as a dead man, my God, and to live means all the time to be surprised, to have surprise, to create surprise, to offer to other people things that they think they know and they don't. And I want to say to the young people, really, a message I ask you to believe. Each of you has much more than you think, much more. And you can always be great as the cause you serve, and you may remain always small if you go after your ego. So the future and the potential is in your hand. Don't miss it.
Thank you very much. Nimrod.
This is the Yala Declaration of Principles, signed by some of our membership from across the region. So this is for you. And Sharon, for you as well, signed by everyone.
We have a photo. This should be a picture with optimistic people. I'm not sure journalists are allowed.
Thank you very much.